welcome back to new video here in Mickey Reaction. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And now, let's get started.
Hey guys, my name is Mary. I'm 28 and what I'm about to tell you will sound weird AF, but I promise you it's 100% real. We all have some really crazy quarantine stories and mine is not an exception. In fact, I'm pretty sure mine's the craziest.
Okay, I believe
I hope my
you.
experience will help somebody out there avoid acting like I did. Well, alright, well without any further ado, here I go. So 2020 kicked off and the newest thing we were all talking about was the same thing.
Oh yeah.
The new and deadly coronavirus that originated in China. Yep, our dear friend COVID-19. I tried to take it easy at first. I didn't want to get too paranoid about it, just mildly paranoid. It was almost impossible to talk to or even think about anything else other than coronavirus. It was everywhere. The news, social media, newspapers, people talking about it, and I live in New York City.
Correct.
So a few weeks later, I guess you could say it was literally everywhere. By this point, you should probably know that I'm what you may call a hypochondriac. I'll explain it in case somebody doesn't know what that means. A hypochondriac is somebody who's kind of afraid of all kinds of diseases and always thinks they're going to get sick.
Oh,
So
me
as you
too.
may expect, I failed my goal to not lose my cool. January 21st was the first confirmed case of COVID-19 in the US, and that was the day I went nuts. I went to the nearest drugstore and bought a whole ton of masks and Purell, and, I went to the grocery store and got food supplies for the whole month. I decided I wasn't going to leave my house unless it was really, really necessary. Can you imagine if the first case appeared in New York instead of Washington? I probably would have, gotten in a boat and just went out into the middle of the ocean. Anyways, that day I spent like $1,500 buying what, I would need for the apocalypse. The only problem with the masks that I bought, though, is I didn't really feel safe with them on. I mean, like, what if the wind blows and, like, air gets into the mask in one of your exposed parts of your cheek? I needed something that was going to cover me completely. I have a friend who's an engineer, and I asked if he could make a mask that I would never have to take off. He told me he had a 3D printer in his house, and he just needed, like, a week or two to do it. I didn't leave the house for days.
Oh.
I should probably explain that I work at a TV studio, and my job is editing scripts. I called my boss, and I explained the situation, and I said I wasn't able to go to work, but I could do my work from home. He almost fired me, but instead he finally gave me permission to work from home. Remember, this was just in January. Social distancing didn't begin for like 2 months later.
Oh yeah.
He probably thought that I was just nuts. But eventually, everybody soon came to realize I wasn't the crazy one. As a matter of fact, it was just a little bit more time until everyone was feeling kind of crazy. Like me. Anyways, after a week, I checked in with my friend to see if he had made the mask. He asked me to come by to get it quicker than if he would mail it to me. I mean, I don't know how long it was going to take to ship, but it made sense. So I put on 3 different masks to cover my whole face, and I went over to his house. Everybody on the subway looked at me like I was a freak. And that being said, I was probably not the weirdest thing you're going to find in a New York subway. I mean, there's all sorts of freaks there. I got to his house, and I asked him if he could throw me the mask from the window. I really hated the idea of being close to anybody. After all, that's probably why I'm single. Anyways, he wrapped the mask up and threw it from the 7th floor. I caught it like it was the holy grail of baseball. Although, I suck at baseball, but this was a good moment. I unwrapped it and put it on right away.
Okay.
It was made with this cloth material and had a plastic part that covered the nose and mouth. He gave me some instructions. It was washable, and the cloth was removable. As soon as I put it on, I felt more secure. I looked like I was doing a Tokyo Ghoul or Kakashi Sensei cosplay. Yeah, I watch anime. Anyways, surprisingly, people in the streets didn't look at me like they did when I was wearing the medical masks. I guess it was kind of cool. It's New York anyways. But it was so comfy, I told myself that I was going to leave it on until this virus situation blew over. I also have really bad acne, and the mask helped with that too, because it just covered it right on up. I went to the store to buy more stuff, and this old lady ran away from me when she saw me. She must have thought I was like a robber or something, or even worse. Still, it was hilarious. She may not have liked my mask, but I loved it. There was also a special feature that my friend had put in. There was room for a straw, so you didn't have to take the mask off to eat or drink. Yeah, I said eat. I started putting all my food into a blender and turning it into smoothies and shakes.
God.
And when I say all my food, I mean like really all my food. I basically was just cooking meals like normal and then popping everything into a blender and then sucking it up through a straw. Actually, it was kind of efficient, and I found some really interesting recipes and combinations. Like, some were good and some were, kind of disgusting. Don't knock it till you try it, but French fries and pineapple actually made a really tasty combo. You should try it. Anyways, weeks passed and more people started getting infected in the US.
I don't like that.
And as the numbers went up, more people started acting like I was. Maybe if everyone took it as serious as I did from the beginning, we wouldn't have so many people sick. Anyways, almost a month passed, and I had only taken the mask off 3 quick times to wash it. I'd even slept with it. I'd gotten so used to it that I couldn't fall asleep without it.
Bad.
I can totally understand how Kakashi feels now. It was super comfy and cool to have my mask on. After a month of wearing the mask, I started to get some skin reaction on my left cheek. I thought it could maybe be one of 2 things. Maybe the cloth wasn't supposed to be worn like that, or maybe I had an allergy. I took it off and saw some pimples that looked like acne, and I read online that acne doesn't need to be covered up. It needs to breathe to help it recover.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if that was true or not, but it made sense at the moment, so I washed my face and I kept my skin, exposed for a few hours. Then I put the mask back on. The irritation passed for a few days, but it came back worse. I bought some, cream for dry skin, and I put that on under the mask, and it seemed to help. But as the days went by, I needed more cream to stop the pain. I knew I should see a doctor by this point, but we were in the middle of the pandemic in March in New York, one of basically the worst places on earth to be, with more coronavirus cases than almost anywhere, more than Spain or Italy. I tried some other home recipes to calm the irritation down, but none of them were working. I was starting to get desperate. And then, one night I woke up with a terrible burning sensation on my face, and something even worse. I could feel things moving inside of my face.
Oh my God.
I tried cold water. I thought I was hallucinating, but it didn't make me feel any better. After a few minutes thinking that I should go to the hospital, even though I was super afraid to go, I decided I had no other options. I tried to call an ambulance to take me because I thought that was safer, but all of them were tied up because of the pandemic. I ended up taking an Uber to the hospital, and the driver told me he was going to drop me off a few blocks away from the hospital because he didn't even want to be close to it. I don't blame you, buddy. This was literally the last place a hypochondriac wants to be in the middle of a pandemic is, the hospital. But here I was. I finally got to the hospital, and one of the nurses told me to wait in the non-COVID area. I was so stressed out that I actually fainted. And when I woke up, I was in a bed surrounded by doctors examining my face. They told me I had a really bad infection, but thanks to me already being unconscious, they could attend to it without a lot of complications. They explained to me what was happening with my face. And let me just tell you, it has nothing to do with acne or allergies. I'm just going to be honest and warn you right now that what you're about to hear is probably going to gross you the hell out. Apparently, one of the days when I didn't have the mask on for a little while, some fly landed on my face and laid some eggs. Flies look for hot, warm, humid places to put their eggs so they can hatch and grow quickly, and, I guess I created the perfect environment.
Oh, yeah.
They look for an injury or a scab, and in this case, the bastard fly chose one of my acne scabs that I'd scratched before. This is called cutaneous myiasis. The procedure to fix me was easy. They have to suffocate the larva, and the doctors put medical tape on my skin and left it for a couple hours, and then the larvae, suffocated and died. Then after that, the doctors had to use forceps to take out the dead larvae. Are you freaking kidding me? The doctors gave me some antibiotic ointment to put over it to heal. And they also told me that the whole mask situation didn't help me because it made my face warm, and it was like putting a blanket over the little larva babies, which is disgusting. It was the perfect situation for them, and the cloth wasn't thick enough to suffocate them.
Disgusting.
He also referred me to a psychologist to treat my hypochondria. Apparently, I'd taken my fear too far this time. After several Zoom sessions with both, I can finally freely speak about what happened to me. Actually, the idea of sending my story to Real Life Talk came from one of them, and I'm really happy I did it. Remembering everything I did to overcome my anxiety is actually helping me heal. Now it's July, and I go outside more often. I always wear a mask, though, when I'm outside. I eat solid food again, which is great, and sometimes I even go into my office to do my work, but I still do most of my work from home. Anyways, I hope this crazy story has helped people that are afraid of this pandemic.
So crazy.
You can't let fear take over your life, even though this is really scary. This is all gonna pass. But in the meantime, it is no joke, and we all need to be responsible and take steps to make sure that we're being safe. How often do you wear your mask? How are you holding up with this situation? Do you think the coronavirus is real or a hoax? Are you a hypochondriac like I was? How many hours a day do you wear your mask? Hopefully not as much as I did. And also, check for flies. Anyways, let me know in the comments below. I'll be reading them. Thanks, guys, and stay safe.
Alright, guys, that was a crazy story. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. See you later. Bye-bye.